Good day, it's January 29th, 2024. Donald Trump won the New Hampshire state primary election, the second state to elect for the nominee for president in the Republican side for the November 2024 presidential election. I'm Sam Buban. Welcome to the polls.
And I'm Joe Buban. Welcome to today's edition of the polls.
The New Hampshire primary, which is done differently and uniquely from other states, does not require the party affiliation of the voters to elect a nominee for president for the November general election. According to an Associated Press report on the New Hampshire primary, Donald Trump, who won the state twice already in a primary, one in 2020 and one this year's primary, garnered 54.3% of the votes, while Nikki Haley got 43.3%, a margin of only 11% of all votes counted, with 98% of precincts reporting. Political analysts and Nikki Haley's campaign considered the result in New Hampshire as a big performance for Nikki Haley, leading to the South Carolina primary. It demonstrates her claim that she has a pathway going forward in the Republican nomination for president. There is now an even larger proof that Donald Trump actually won only by a small percentage of Republicans in Iowa. Here's why. A report from a Des Moines, Iowa CBS TV station, KCCI 8, says that only 15.3% of registered Republican voters in Iowa actually voted in the Iowa caucuses, and only 18% of active voters, like those who voted in 2022 election, actually voted. So that means that Trump's win in Iowa of 31% of overall vote cast were only from 7.5% of Republican voters in Iowa. Some analysts says he should be worried going forward in the general election with only 7 or 8% of Iowa Republicans voting for him. What happened to the rest of the registered Republicans in Iowa? Many believe the non-MAGA Republicans mostly stayed home during the caucuses. We are still waiting for analysis of the size of Trump's win in New Hampshire.
Every 2 years, the general election, whether it is presidential election year or the midterm election, the battle for control on the next Congress is bigger and more expensive election overall. This year, the battle is officially for the control of the 119th Congress. The ever-changing landscape this year is a roller coaster ride and a cliffhanger as news of retirements from both sides of the aisle in the Republican and Democratic side. Right now, as we speak, this is what it looks like in the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate and who controls them. In the House, on a normal day, must have 435 members, which includes the House Speaker, and the U.S. Senate, with 100 members, with the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris as the Senate President, who can also vote, but only to break a tie. Let's look at the House of Representatives. The Republicans now only have 219 members, and the Democrats having 213 members. That totals only 432 members because of 3 vacancies, 2 of which were recently created by former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who left Congress on December 31st of 2023, and New York Representative George Santos, who was expelled from Congress, both Republicans. As of today, you keep hearing around the saying that this is one of the slimmest margin in a Congress for control by any party. Here's why it is. With only 432 members in Congress, the majority needed to pass a normal bill is 1/2 of that plus 1, that means 216 plus 1, so that is 217. That means if the Republican-controlled House wants to kill a bill, The Democrats only need 4 defectors from the Republican side to vote with Democrats to pass a bill.
Meanwhile, in the U.S. Senate, which is less polarized in terms of passing many of the bills that is good for their state and the country, the Democrats controls the upper chamber of Congress with a 51-vote majority. The 48 Democrats plus 3 independents who caucuses with Democrats bring that to 51, while the Republicans has 49, just 1 seat majority for the Democrats. The landscape picture of the Senate in the 119th Congress could remain 51 to 49, or at the worst scenario, 50-50, because of the retirement of West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin, who could flip the seat to Republican. But with Arizona, who has become a lean blue state, Senator Kirsten Sinema, who is now an independent, or the Democratic challenger, Congressman Ruben Gallego, can keep the seat for the Democrats. But even if the West Virginia seat flips to Republican and the seat of Ted Cruz flips to Democrats with a strong challenge from Congressman Colin Allred. This is one of the top 10 reasons why you should vote in every general election, as the control of the U.S. Congress is at stake and things that matters to you in your district or of the country are being decided in Congress. And as equally important for the control of the state legislature on things that matters at the state where you live. One example of that is how you want your state to be governed and whether you want women to enjoy their freedom of choice, the right to choose of what they want to do with their body, or whether or not you want your state lawmakers to dictate what you think is good for you.
In the state of New York, the longtime leader and lobbyist for the National Rifle Association, the NRA, Wayne LaPierre, said he was going to step down from the position at the NRA due to his health conditions. He has chronic Lyme disease. LaPierre, who was charged in New York State for corruption, is reportedly ill and his health is a factor on his trial. Through his lawyer, Wayne LaPierre, the defendant had asked a judge to stop and start his upcoming testimony, depending on how he is feeling. But the judge in the case, Joel M. Cohen, wants proof of his health condition by asking for sworn affidavits from physicians relating to LaPierre's health condition. The civil fraud case against the NRA was filed in 2020 by New York Attorney General Letitia James, accusing 4 of the gun lobby executives of mismanagement of funds and violating state and federal laws. The once powerful gun lobby, who in 2021 says they are having trouble paying bills, attempted to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in a Texas federal court. But a federal judge in Texas, Harlan Hale, ruled that the NRA cannot file for a bankruptcy protection in Texas just on the basis that the NRA planned to relocate to Texas. The NRA has been, for a very long time, based in Virginia, but was chartered in the state of New York. Judge Harlan Hale put into question the motive of the move to Texas to escape New York regulators.
When we come back after the commercial break, we will be joined here at the Film TV studio for an interview with our very own Filipino American candidate for Congress in Nevada District 1. Please stay with us.
Medical Equipment provides top-notch quality medical supply equipment. Whether to rent or buy, Pure Medical Equipment and Supplies has it all.
Pure Medical Equipment is committed to serve and give back to Southern Nevada.
We deliver medical supplies and rentals to your door.
Welcome back to The Pulse. With us now here at the studio is a member of the Filipino American community. He is running in the Republican primary in the Nevada Congressional District 1. Ron Quince, welcome to The Pulse. We want to thank you for making the time to talk to us today here at The Pulse.
Well, thanks for having me, Sam.
You're welcome. Ron, can you tell our audience a little bit more about yourself?
Well, absolutely. Well, I was born in the Philippines. I grew up in Los Angeles, get educated in Arizona, moved here, I would probably say in 2002, and married. I have two little children. One is 4 and one's 3. I own multiple businesses here in Las Vegas. But in my real professions, I'm actually I'm an accountant, and my background is I have an accounting firm here in town, and also the partners and involved in businesses such as auto, healthcare, and some retails.
That's wonderful. Oh, that's quite, is that your main, it's been your career, right? Yeah. Doing accounting?
Yeah, that's actually, I've been doing that ever since. And of course, I also, I got involved in the business solution type of things. I've seen business from small and big and identify more like a troubleshooting what's going on in their business and try to fix it. And of course, by learning all that stuff, then you kind of like have an idea which one works and which one doesn't work.
All right. That's wonderful. Here's a question. The primary election and the general election of 2022 showed the largest number of voters in Nevada and in your district. But compared to the 2022 Republican primary, this year only have 4 names in the ballot compared to the 8 during the 2022 primary. What makes you stand out among these candidates, and what policy platform or program are you pitching to?
Well, first of all, this Congressional District 1, it's a diverse group. We're looking at 44.3% Hispanic, and of course we have 32.6 white, 11% black, and 8.2% Asian. And the one that make me distinctive in this race is, one, I can relate to all of those diverse group. I speak Tagalog fluently, and I speak Spanish because my wife is a Hispanic, and also my children. And when I go door to door, or just going around to my talking to my constituents, they usually tell me that it's about time that we have a candidate that we can relate to.
Okay, so you speak Tagalog and you speak Spanish. And the other 4 seem not to be in that,
Correct, and also one of
the other 3.
Yes, the other 3 candidates that I have and that we have usually, some of them are actually just moved here.
Okay.
From California, and some of them just moving from Utah. They don't really have anything going on as far as being a tenured resident here in Nevada. I remember when I came here, we didn't even have Jones. It stopped to Bronco, and I've seen how the way the community grow, the redistricting. Nevada, Las Vegas is supposed to be only built for 5,000 people. Now we have 2.1 people. So it's just the amount of growth of this district. It's you need to have a candidate that understand what's going on or what's the polls out there.
You're practically a Las Vegas native. For
That's
all
what they
the
said. If
years
you've
that
been
you-
here for more than 20 years, you're
Yeah.
actually Las Vegas native.
Yes, that's what I call them. Can you explain your policy position on education funding? Because just reading from your campaign material mentioning, it sounded like a talking point with Florida Republicans. Can you clarify what you meant there on that, your position on education?
Absolutely. One of the things that's big for me is protect the parental rights. What's happening is, of course, we want to make sure that the parents are aware of what's going on in the classroom. As myself is a product of a public school district, and I remember back then when we were elementary, junior high, even high school, our teachers let our parents know what's going on, like how we doing. But for some reason right now, the problem is the teachers are kind of like get away with the parents a little bit more. They're more like trying to please the government because the government's the one that actually pay their salary. And if the government tells them, hey, you know what, this kid cannot read, you know what, pass it along because that's going to be, we have to get them going. So one of the things that I have is practically protect the parents' right. Have the parents have something to say when it comes to like a PTA meeting, rather than telling them to be quiet and listen to the board members. Also, more money in the classroom. I know Governor Lombardo spent and signed a bill like $2 billion, and we have 777, imagine that, millions of dollars for improvements such as equipment, computers, and things like that. The problem that we have is, even though we have the state-of-the-art system out there, if we don't have the right people that using it, it's not going to work. It's just going to be a paperweight. Of course, making the teachers hold accountable. The problem that we have right now is practically, if the teacher did something, they don't get reprimandable. What they did is the teacher school union is so strong that they would do is like they would just like move the teacher to another school, which is in this situation. What we need to do is we want to make sure that the teachers are actually held accountable just like a regular job. If they have children that can read better, then we should be rewarded. And last but not the least, of course, I believe Governor Sandoval have started it before when he was a governor. I believe in a federal school vouchers, which is like giving the parents an opportunity to take their kids in a different school.
Nevada teachers are among the lowest paid in the country,
and that's
so
that's why
you're thinking more funding.
Correct,
for our
and
education.
of course, like give them such a kind of like if we get a regular job, they give us an evaluation on how do we do.
That's right.
So in this situation, we don't have anything in place right now. So now, I also remember that other states, Massachusetts is the #1 school in the country. Maybe as your congressman, I would ask the other congressmen in that state and work with their local people to find out what are they doing differently, and then come back here and tell our local officials and kind of like give them suggestion, because we cannot reinvent the wheel. The wheel's already invented.
Right. It would really be nice to have a Filipino American in Congress. I mean, personally, I feel that way. Mark Robertson, who is also on the ballot this year on the Republican primary, got 12,375 votes. That's quite a big challenge for you. Is there a pathway to winning that you see in this primary?
Absolutely. I'm very excited because my team and I have a different way of running the campaign. We're not following the old book. Well, now we're creating a new playbook because the old book does not work anymore. So you need to create something new. One of the things that we're doing right now in my campaign, even I go to churches, I go to town hall. I don't talk about my candidacy. I talk to them about coming out and vote in the primary. And believe it or not, a lot of people don't even know what that means. I spoke to some Filipino American who's been here for 60 years, and they told me, Ron, I don't even know that exists. No wonder all the people that we like never make it, never showed up in the ballot.
That's right.
And not only the Filipino American, the Hispanic American, and a typical casino worker don't even know what's going on about primary because they're so busy working. Suburban housewife, busy taking care of the kids, they don't know that there's such thing as primary. So technically what I'm doing is I educate them. Sure, only registered Republican can vote for a Republican candidate.
Yes.
But I told him, if you're a Republican, a Democrat, or even a nonpartisan, come out and vote in the primary, because there's a lot of races out there as far as, maybe a qualified Democrat who
That's
can run
true, yeah.
in the primary and can make a difference in your life. And also we have judges that are nonpartisan
Yes.
that has to be in the primary as well. Mayor races. So they usually pick the top two, and then if the other one makes 50%,
Yes.
then they don't need to go to a general election. So more like an education, because in order for us to make change in this country, we need to have different people out there.
Right,
And that's what I
right.
encourage them: come out and vote in the primary. Understand how the way the primary election works.
That's why, we make it like a primer here at the Film TV too, and at the polls. Sometimes we do explainer here. Ron, what is the estimate number of Filipino American voters in that district?
In District 1, we have a 21,274 household, which is converted to 62,822 Filipino voters.
Oh, that's a
Okay,
big,
we have 16,912 registered Republicans.
that's a big chunk.
That's a big chunk. So if our goal is make sure that instead of us focusing on one base of voters,
Right.
like what the old Republicans have done before, now we want to expand the base. More like educate these people to come out, rather than being funded by big corporation
Yes.
and telling them, hey, we want you to run because you're our guy and you're going to do us a favor when you win. No, we're getting the people's voice to come out and vote for someone that you can relate to, like myself.
Yes.
And also we're doing the same thing in the Hispanic community. There are like 340,000 people that actually live in my district, and we're talking about 113,000 household, 17,000 registered Republican. Even though it's such a small number, I would probably say that 15% we still want them to come out and vote in the primary.
Ron, you are running in a district that has not elected a Republican congressman for the past or more than 20 years. Does your campaign has this team and support mechanism to help you through the general election?
Absolutely. What happened is because now District 1 got realigned, so we got more Republicans than we used. Back in the day, Dina Titus will get 82% of Democrat voters, but when the realignment came in, now we picked up some steam with the Republicans. And also we are looking at the trends of registered voters. A lot of people are actually don't like Republicans and Democrats anymore. So they switch parties. Our strategy is make sure that those people that actually left, we can relate to them so they can come out and vote. Because like I was talking to this gentleman today, he told me he's a libertarian because he didn't like the way Governor Sandoval run things. So he changed party because he was mad at the Republican parties. But when I talked to him and I spoke to him about my values, then suddenly he goes like, well, you know what? I'm going to switch back and vote for you, because that's the only thing that I can vote for you as part of the Republican Party. And primary is very important. The fact that if you don't win the first dance, you're not gonna go to the second dance.
Yes.
So that's why we can, like I would tell people about the solution and changes that I would do. But in order for us to be there, you gotta be in the general election.
Of course.
Or else whatever you talk about, it's not gonna go anywhere.
Yes. Last question. How many people work on your campaign? You meaning that's paid for by the campaign?
Well, right now we have at least like 12 people in our
12
staff.
people?
Yeah.
That's an expensive campaign.
The Republican Party is not giving us any pennies. Yeah, even my opponents.
Because we're still in the primary stage.
Correct.
And then, this moment is for you. What would you say to our voters that
Well, first
why
of all,
they should vote for you?
First of all, Sam, thank you for having me here. It's my pleasure. Second of all, I want to tell everybody to encourage your friend, your family to come out and vote in the primary. If they're not a registered voter, teach them or help them how to register, so that's why they can participate the democracy that this country has to offer. The reason that we are here because we didn't like where we at back then. Second of all, if you want to volunteer or you feel a little bit generous, you can donate my campaign, which is www.ronq4u.com, and just spread the word. Make sure that we got the right candidate in the right place, and let's move this country forward.
All right. Thank you also for being here. Well, folks, we are out of time for this episode of The Pulse. Join us again next time. I'm Sam Buban. Thank you for watching, and God bless your week.
Enjoy Film TV Network on KGNG 26.8 Las Vegas and www.filmtv.us. Search for and download Film TV Network in Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Download the WCE TV app from smartphones and search for Film TV.